some people call Psalm. Chapter 30, verse 5.
And in fact, Psalms is in the middle of the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it works out.
Songs of praise for God.
Yeah, so this is out of the NIV, so I have a hard time reading the regular King James version. I get all tongue tangled with it. So, okay. And I told the kids once they start nodding off, I'm going to start chucking baseballs and stuff out there to them.
We'll get you a water gun. Be safe.
Okay, this is
No damage necessary. We're trying to avoid brain damage in the children, Pastor. We
Psalm
found out.
30.
As long as he doesn't miss.
Psalm 30, verse 5 says, "For his anger lasts only a moment, but his favor lasts a lifetime. Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning." And I'm going to talk to you about the middle. Nobody likes to really be in the middle, do they? The middle is one of the places nobody ever wants to be stuck in the middle of something. Like in the middle of an argument, middle of divorce. We get, the middle is an undesirable place to be. It's unwanted, uncomfortable place. Even the younger kids there, they're going to know about middle. Like the middle seat of an airplane, middle seat of a car. Kind of brings me about when I was about maybe 12, 13 years old. My parents said, we're gonna go drive all around the U.S., circle the U.S. in a vehicle. It was in a Chevy Glove pickup. Now, needless to say, my dad was about the size I am. My mom, maybe 95 pounds after Thanksgiving dinner. So, I mean, but still, it was still kind of crowded because it was a stick shift. Truck was stick shift, so I had to kind of straddle this thing, hoping and praying that didn't get a hand slip anywhere. And my dad just, going through the gears and stuff. He'd like to do this number. So here I am I'm getting a sternum broken and everything else, trying to shift gears. Now, mind you, going 3,000 miles in the middle of this, sitting in the middle of a small vehicle. Then that makes it so horrible when you got to deal with all that. Middles are uncomfortable. But in our lives, we're gonna be in the middle all the time. And the time God promises something, to the time He delivers, there's going to be a middle portion. You look at the children of Israel. It's 40 years from the time they were living in Egypt to the promised land. But that was due to their unbelief. Of course, they had to just wander around for 40 years. Middle is kind of also a testing ground for us. Testing our faith, testing our reliance on God. But what's nice about it though, the middles are only temporary. They're temporary, they're not going to last. You're not going to always be in the struggle you're in. Aren't always going to be in the grieving. In Galatians 6:9 tells us, "Let us not grow weary or become discouraged in doing good. At the proper time, we will reap if we do not give in." What this verse is simply saying is that this middle that you're in will have a duration. It's going to have an expiration date on it, won't it? I've been through lots of middles. I've been through some ugly middles. not divorce or nothing like that, but I mean, we've gotten arguments. And like I said, going back to that time with my parents, being in the middle of arguments, especially when you sit in the middle of that seat and you're arguing. And that was only temporary. By the time we got to the next hotel, it ended, then I was never so glad to get home from the trip, but that was only a temporary middle for a couple, 3 weeks. God's gonna give us our harvest. He's gonna give us a harvest in due time. He's gonna see you through the situation in due time. God's gonna move in your life. He's gonna heal.
Amen.
God's gonna give you a direction to go. Even these young kids, the youngsters here. God's got good plans for them.
Amen.
They can, actually, I really enjoy working with the younger group because they're actually the better ministers. They're not as, they look forward, they know how to keep themselves busy for the Lord. When you got saved, weren't we all excited and wanting to just, all right, I'm going to work in the church, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be preaching my dog. That's kind of funny. I did that once when I was young. I was about 16 when I got saved. Dog was looking at me. It's got that kind of weird look in my... Yes, I can't get an amen out of you. You know how pugs usually have this way. Usually it sounds like they're going to die it's like they're dying of some sort of lung disease or something, but my parents had some dogs. We've had, but the middles that we get into, they're not supposed to they're going to be unexpected too. We got to remember, we got to keep going. We got to keep pushing on through it. It's just picture yourself driving to a family event. All of a sudden there's a traffic accident up ahead. Traffic gets all snarled and slow. You know how that can go. I've always, and if you ever notice, when you're in a hurry to get somewhere, that's when you're going to have the issues. It's going to test your patience. And I'm going to kind of give this to the younger ones here, the other two, the teenagers. You're really going to be pushed with some stuff. You're going to be put in the middle where your friends are going to put you in the middle, wanting you to do pot, wanting you to do all kinds of other stuff. Don't do it. Because, I can quit when I want to. How many of us said that before? I can quit whenever I want to. Yeah, I went to pot. Yeah, I used to smoke a lot of weed when I was in high school. Then I decided to start dropping acid. Dropping LSD. Playing football while I was doing that stuff. So I was crazy. The person who led me to Christ is my brother, who was one of my connections. Once he got led to Christ, he led me to Christ.
Amen.
And that is how we need to do it. That is getting me out of the middle, that rut that I was in. Somebody led my brother out of his middle, and God used my brother to lead me out of the middle I was in. You gotta look at your middle. What middle are you in? Middle school. Yeah. Nobody likes middle school. That sounds so kind of like a limbo, a holding pattern. Like you're in a holding pattern, right? I think My granddaughter's in second grade, and she thinks she knows everything.
No.
She thinks she's 21. We all know that feeling.
I know that feeling.
We all get.
I went to that.
We have, we get this middles. Middles are so interesting. Because they're traveling by an airplane, get put in a holding patterns done because they can't land. And they're thinking, why are they putting this stupid holding pattern? Well, that could be for your safety. It's just like when I work for the railroad. We hold trains out in the desert. There could be a problem with that rail. They just can't just let this guy barrel on through. Especially got 100 cars or tank cars on that thing with all kinds of horrible, ugly stuff. Luckily, thank goodness, I work in the tower, so I don't have to deal with any of that stuff. But I get to listen to that in the control tower. Then you hear these guys, some of these engineers don't want to be in that holding pattern. They don't want to be held out in the middle of the desert. So I hear them saying very unsanctified things on the phone when they call up. You hear them on the speakerphone. They're saying some very. It's a good thing it wasn't on the radio. They didn't do it because they were saying quite a few horrible things. We don't need to. We don't need to have that type of deal. We need to understand that middle is for our safety at times. We got to be stuck in that holding pattern for our safety. God's gonna. There's a lot of stories you see of people when they've were maybe 5 minutes. They left. They had to take a detour or something. I had to go do this, and then you had to stop to get gas. Well, that time they stopped to get gas, maybe saved their life from another traffic accident that happened. And I've had some really close calls. This one time, when I first started working with the railroad, I was working in Los Angeles here. We were looking down. So it was nighttime. I kind of looked at my rearview mirror and I see this flash. And I was thinking, normally I'd drive in, what it was a helicopter hit a power line. Right? I mean, no sooner, probably about a couple minutes after I passed. And I'm thinking that guy could have been right above me when he hit that. God looks out for us. These middles can be a lifesaver. You don't think about it at the time when you're going through it, right? Now, see, get back to our deal with driving up to a family thing. You can run across the driveway. Are you going to turn around and just go back home? No, you're going to keep plugging along. You're going to get to that family event. Well, guess what? God's got a family event for us, doesn't he? He's waiting for us. This is going to be for, if you haven't accepted Christ, I'm giving, in a bit, at the end of the service, I'll give an invitation. You take it. You got that in between. You can secure your spot in heaven, so you know where your destination is going to be.
Amen.
But right now, we're in the middle. I'm in the middle. Middle-aged. Actually, I'm seniors. We're classified as senior citizens now.
Definitely. Praise God.
Old geezer. But yeah, we're going to have these holding patterns in our lives. God's going to hold us out. But how are we going to deal with this holding pattern? In the middle, when we hit those middles, we need to be patient, don't we?
Yes.
I mean, people say, I want patience, I want it now. We live in a society now, we can just click, get what we want, delivered the next day.
We do.
Amazon. Isn't Amazon? you know, we expect God's prayers to be like Amazon, click the mouse and it's gonna be delivered, bam. No, God's not our vending machine. God's gonna have us wait for the right time. We gotta be patient. My wife keeps telling me to be patient all the time. Well, about the only time I'm impatient while I'm driving. Patience is a key to that. I mean, we need to hold on to we need to realize, okay, it's gonna be, we just gotta wait, you know. And I said, I want it now. We also need endurance. It's a long race we're gonna have. Some of these middles are gonna be a long middle. We lived in some pretty bad areas when my wife and I first got married. Lived up South Pomona for about, 5 years. But you know, if you rely on God in His middles, He's going to protect you through them. We've had some, every time we moved out of a place, we moved out of South Pomona, we had some problems right in that apartment complex that we lived in. There's some shootings and stuff. Then we moved out to Highland. Lived there about 5-6 years. Waiting for the good opportunity. We lived in a place that had a homeowners association. You know, has anybody ever lived in a homeowners association? Those are horrible. You get a bunch. Well, one we had was a couple of drunk old biddies running around writing people up for stupid things. I had a board sticking this far above my fence, and they tried to find me for it. But you know, we had to keep enduring until Joanne and I got to the place we liked up here in Barstow. God kind of guided us up here. It was endurance, and I think we're still kind of in the middle. We still got in the middle of clicking.
In the middle of projects.
Oh, don't remind me. You had to bring that one up.
Daryl, how do you do this? Oh.
I'm one of these type that
He's got a video of the project.
you don't believe half the things. Like I got one project I started, like our master bathroom for the last 3 years, I think, trying to get that fixed up. This is I figured, well, the pastor in the church isn't going to be that bad. I can still do some of my bathroom. Wrong. I don't think that's going to work too good. Then I got another project I'm starting up here, there, and everywhere, and so the inside, I got a mobile home. So if anybody ever tried to remodel one of those things are the most horrendous, god-awful things to try to remodel. It seems like you cannot fix those things from nothing. You make them cheaply. I found out why they're there. But but still, you know, we do it. We're enduring through it. We need to be hopeful too, don't we? Hopeful that we're going to be seeing the results soon. We're going to be hopeful that, you know, God's going to be guiding us in the right direction. In fact, I'm positive God's going to guide us in the right direction, but we all like to argue, don't we? When God's getting you in the right direction, we like to argue. You know, oh, I can do it myself. I'm a big boy, I can do it myself. And sometimes it don't work too good, does it? Sometimes it turns around. It's kind of like a boomerang. I'll throw it and it comes right back at you. Yeah. I had to get that one. I had to plug that one in for her.
My poor baby.
Don't worry, only about 1 million people on YouTube's going to see it. So. You know, we're all real hopeful that It's like Joanne and I are hopeful that we can really get this church going. We've been fighting with it, trying to get it going. We've been,
I've been trying to.
we got there, we serve the community every way possible to do it. God called us to do it that way. He puts us in the middle of, they put us in the middle of a community that needs a lot of help, a lot of,
Yeah.
they got other, you know, just other than unemployment, they got big drug problem out, big drug culture out here, I noticed.
Yeah.
And alcohol.
Huh?
And alcohol.
Yeah, drug and alcohol both.
Yep.
There's times that people would hide in these old buildings, at times you'd see bottles in the, out there. Those people are in a holding pattern too.
Yeah.
They're waiting for somebody to tell them about Christ, to try to lead them. That's kind of our deal here. We gotta be positive. I mean, I'm positive God's gonna deliver us out of our middle. We gotta, you know, God will see to the end of it. He guarantees that. And I'm positive He will. You know, but, you know, the middle is a pretty boring place, though, isn't it? Well, we gotta deal with it. The best way to deal with these middles is to stay busy. Stay busy for God. If you stay busy, you really won't notice the middle. I mean, we've all done this before, right? I mean, you're in the doctor's office, something, you're waiting, or at the emergency room. A lot of times people get on their phone. I think I tend to overuse our data whenever something like that happens. So it gets real boring, you start, and then you kill time and saying, oh, okay. It's time now to see us, or time, you know, for somebody to be seen. They say for older people and the retire is to stay busy. Otherwise you grow old real fast. You know, you gotta stay active and hungry for God's work. You can't be lazy. You can't be slothful. Like I've told people before, I'm a pretty good mechanic. I can place a rear end in a recliner real quick. You know, what middle, we're going to be going to our invitation here, but what middle are you in? Are you in the middle of deciding to accept Christ or renew your commitment to Christ? Fall in baptism? Are you in the middle of looking for a new church home? Are you just in the middle of a personal struggle and want prayer? I mean, I know these youngsters are getting really put in the middle, and I'm sure glad I'm not a teenager in this day and age. Because I know you kids, I know you guys, you're teenagers now. I would not want to be a teenager in your age, like I said before. I would not want to be one. It's a lot rougher. You guys got a whole lot more to deal with than I ever did.
Amen.
And our prayer, that's why we want to reach out to younger folks. And I'm going to ask you youngsters out there, if you haven't accepted Christ, if you understand what it's about Him dying on that cross, resurrecting, if you haven't accepted and followed baptism, I invite you to come forward and do so, okay?